I'm realizing as I start the show today that I never posted yesterday's show. I did it live, but then I had to run out the door, and then I had to go somewhere else. I was all over the place yesterday. I went to lots of places, lots of moving around. For a person who tends to hang out at home most of the time, if I'm not at a kid's sporting event, I had stuff. I had stuff yesterday. So today I'll post this show and yesterday's show. So it's not on Spotify yet. Which is dumb. It's supposed to be up at like 1 o'clock. It usually ends up being up by like 1:30. I gun for 1 o'clock, but it doesn't always work out that way. Exciting day yesterday. Lots of stuff happening. I mentioned on the show that I was headed out to speak with a potential sponsor / groomer to try to get me under control, because this is bad. I know it. The lighting's not great, and it's just a little picture, but I'm not a great-looking guy to begin with, and I've just let it all go. This is gross. This is shaggy and stupid. See all this? Look at this. Gray and white and bad. And then my hair is just this big puffy mess. My head is big enough anyway, and then if I let my hair get puffy, then it makes my head seem bigger, and that's not something we need. That's not. No one wants that. No one, specifically me. I don't want that. Good news. Problem solved. I went yesterday, met with my new good friend Larry at Buffalo Trim, which has 6 area locations, and they're going to get me under control. The first live trivia show is in about 2 weeks from yesterday. So I don't want to do it now. Like, I think I could have just gotten it taken care of yesterday, but I don't want to do that. We're going to push it back, so it'll be like late next week. I think probably Friday, and then I'll come on the air Monday with my new look, and then Tuesday will be the first show after, at the 24th. Sorry, 27th. 27th. 2 weeks from yesterday is the first live show, Brain Vault at the Kaz. In addition to meeting with Larry at Buffalo Trim and working out a deal to make me look better, at least marginally better. I'm going to look better. This does not mean I'll look good. That part will be good. It's the rest of me, you can only do so much with this, It's like this, you got to work with this. So, but very excited about that. They are on board for for sponsorship of Brain Vault. So that's our first locked-in sponsor for Brain Vault. I'll probably mention them on the show quite a bit, too, because, it's all me. Riter Radio, Brain Vault, it's all the same stuff. It's just one of them is fancier. One of them involves hoodies and basements, and one of them will involve me being all fancy and smooth and cool and looking more like AI Brad than regular Brad. That's what we're going for, I think. That's the vibe. I used a regular picture of me and ran it through AI and said turn it into a headshot, and I sent it to the Kaz, and they're using it, but we're all also laughing at the picture because it looks like me, but like it's a little off. But I'm going to try to look more like the AI picture, and that's the goal. I'm going to dress better, style the hair. I'm going to degray the beard. I talked to a friend of mine so I went to the Kaz yesterday too, and I want to talk about that a little bit. But between my meeting at Buffalo Trim and my trip to the Kaz, or actually during that, while I was driving, I talked to my buddy because he sent me a text, and it's similar to what I saw in the chat this morning before the show started. Like, oh, Brad wants to show off his new haircut now. He texted me, like, send me a picture. I want to see. And I was driving, and I called him. I'm like, well, I didn't do it yet, but it's happening. And the conversation we had, and I think this is right, part of me doing this is to normalize attempting to look good. Like, if you live in my world, you're a Gen X product of 90s no sellout culture, and you can never get that out of your head. It's burned into us. If you're, within 5 years of my age, the worst thing you could be in the 90s was a sellout. It'd be real, man. And it's so stupid, but that's what we were doing. And, it's cool to not care. Battle of Who Could Care Less is a great song by Ben Folds 5. But the whole thing is, we're in a duel to show how little I care. I don't care. You don't care, but we're fighting now, back and forth, to show who cares less. And that's kind of the, I don't know, mantra or overall vibe of people my age. Like, no, you just gotta be cool. You gotta not care. I think a lot of the way that I do the show is built off of that being burned into my head in the 90s. From, movies, TV, conversations about music. It was all about selling out and not selling out. And like that I think is unique to people right around my age. And to my 13-year-old who doesn't care about anything. But, like that. I'm 51 and I still have that 90s thing in my head. But, as my friend said, he's like, I've got, he's referring to himself, but he said he has mostly dark, almost black hair. And if he grows in a beard, like a goatee, it's mostly dark. But anything other than that, he's like, it's just white. And I'm lying. I'm quoting him, but like paraphrasing. I'm lying if I didn't say, if I say that I don't wonder. How about if I just had regular colored hair instead of looking like an old man just because there's hair on my face? And I think me doing this is going to help to normalize this process for others. There's somebody else out there who's like, oh, I've thought about doing that, but I don't want to do that. That's not cool. I'm not vain. I'll just go with what I got. And you don't have to. So I'm going to not. And it takes me doing a show on a stage to bring me to go, you know what? I could probably look better. I could do something about this. And so I'm going to. And I hope to also normalize it. And what's cool, too, is with Buffalo Trim, they've got like a social media thing. Everybody does. Every business has that. So when I do go in there to get this mess of a head cleaned up, there's going to be video evidence. And I also told him I'm just going to try to go full werewolf from now through next Friday. Just let it go. Who cares? So it looks as bad as possible before we make it look as good as possible. So I'm very excited about that. Happy to have them on board. I'm also excited that the response, I didn't know Larry or anyone over there at all, but I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to get cleaned up. I wanted a place that would be like a, haircuts and grooming for men as a sponsor for Brain Vault. But it couldn't just be a single location. I didn't want it to be a big, national chain. We're not, Supercuts, great. I don't want that. I want something Buffalo. This one has Buffalo in its name. That's great. I want North and South Towns locations. They're in Orchard Park and Blaisdell and Amherst and Williamsville. And great. And what I really needed was somebody who appreciated the vibe of what I'm going for, which is we're building this thing. You can clean me up. We can, we're making it up as we go along, but we've got a direction that we're headed, and I feel great about it. And this guy's like, I got an email, and I thought I got to call this guy back right away, and he did. I mean, this all happened. I sent an email 2 days ago. He replied. We met yesterday. Deal done. Haircut next week. Sponsor of the show, of the Brain Vault show, live at the Cas. Tickets are available, by the way. thecasbuffalo.com. We've sold some. They just went on sale. I think they were listed 2 days ago. There hasn't been a ton of fanfare about it. I mentioned it on the show, but I didn't even post my show yesterday, so people are still finding out about it. But this is real. This is happening. A live trivia event. I went in there yesterday. So I wanted to do this anyway, sort of a walkthrough, because I was there and got a tour and said, yeah, this is a place I can work with. But it's been in my head just over and over. I'm picturing, how is this set up? How are the lights? How is how are the mics going to work? Where do we need a table? Where do we need a microphone? Where, all that kind of stuff. So I just went to do sort of a little look-see, a little walk around. Like when you, I'm picturing the house next to mine sold recently. And there was a couple that I don't know if they ended up getting it, but they went to an open house. There was an open house on Saturday, and they went to it, and they put in an offer immediately. And then Sunday, there was nobody around, and they were just there kind of walking around, looking in the windows like, all right, we did this, but let's remind ourselves what we're looking at here. It kind of felt like that, like I wanted to go do that. I also knew that last week, I think it was last week, maybe earlier this week, I don't know. I had a text from my dad who had been on the website, thecasbuffalo.com. I was like, that place looks really cool. And I thought, hey, I'm going to meet Jeremy, who is kind of running things as far as entertainment and programming and stuff at the Cas. I went to meet him, and it's like, I'm going to bring my dad. So I went and I picked up my dad, went to West Seneca, picked up my dad, drove to South Buffalo, met with Jer at the Cas, met with, just ran into Jake, the owner, and his wife was there, and the manager of the place was there, and there were a couple people from a band coming in, and I just let my dad walk around and look at it, and also let him sit in on Jer and I talking for, 20 minutes, half an hour about the plans. Because he knows I've been in media. He knows that a lot goes into, sort of behind the scenes of what you're going to do with any sort of production, whether it's radio or video in this case, or a live show in that case. But he hasn't been around it and watched me actually, talk with somebody else who's in the business of what we're doing. And I just thought it would be cool to show him, what I'm up to. Give him a little idea that this isn't just something we're winging and throwing together. There's a lot that goes into. There's a lot that's going to happen between now and the 27th when the show actually hits the stage under the lights. It'll be 5:30 doors, and 7 o'clock. I will hit the stage along with others, but I recommend you go buy tickets. I request that you go buy tickets. I'd love you to go buy tickets, because while the plan is to do this for a full year, infinitely, really, but the talk was all right, if we're doing 52 weeks in a year, how many, you do 48 shows? And I think, yeah, that sounds about right. But in order to secure sponsors, I want a trial run that starts it. So the agreement is for 6 weeks, because I can't I can't email Buffalo Trim and be like, hey, I'm Brad. I've never done this show before. It starts in 2 weeks and it's going to go forever. Would you like to pay every week until we're both dead? I can't do it that way. There had to be some sort of, it had to be in a package. So 6 weeks is the plan. Every Tuesday starting January 27th. The plan is to go much beyond that and to grow the whole thing. But as a starting point, that's what we're dealing with. I'm looking for exactly 2 more sponsors. I'm being very particular about what I want out of the sponsors. There's a branding type of thing. Everything's got to fit together. And there are certain people around Western New York who, whenever it comes time for me to look for partners, I kind of go to the same friends, the same acquaintances, the same, people that I've dealt with over the years. Not everyone that I've always dealt with fits with what I'm trying to do for this particular thing. So normally I would say, for the podcast, anyone who is interested, including Brian Janik, thefinancialguys.com, interested in being a sponsor of the podcast, feel free to reach out, because I will take you on. I will promote your business. We will be friends. But for this thing, Brain Vault, I'm classing it up, man. And not all of my typical regular circle of friends are classy enough. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I mean, though? There's a sense that this needs to be fancy version of me, fancy version of the stuff I do, as opposed to this super casual, laid back, hanging out in my basement thing that I do with, again, my friends. Scott Wilson comes on twice a week. Bob Gaughan will be on today at 11 o'clock. John Fuller's a regular guest. We've been bringing in Paul Hamilton a bit lately. You know what the show is. This other thing is a little bit different. And thank you to Buffalo Trim for being on board with that. Very interesting to think about. My background is radio primarily. I've done TV also. I've done writing and podcasting and all that. But I'm a radio guy, really. And For radio, and look no further than what this show, how it started and where it is now. It started as a radio show. The radio part went away. I continued it essentially as a radio show, a live stream audio show. And then I was like, well, I guess, the laptop I'm using, there's a camera right there. I guess I could turn it on because that allows to make clips and put up videos and all that stuff. And it turns out I don't mind it. It's a lot more of a pain to deal with video files than it is to deal with audio files. It's just everything takes longer. But I get it. I get why that's sort of, if not necessary, it's helpful in putting out the content, if you will, online. Stage show, whole different world. Like dealing with Jeremy, first of all, he runs the programming over there, so he's used to it and he knows what they've got. But he's been performing on stage forever as the leader of the Strictly Hip, along with a bunch of other people who have been in the band over the years. But the same core of guys has been around for most of it, and they've got a whole they know what they're doing. Like I've never had a green room, really. I shouldn't say that. I've sat in a green room when I was doing an appearance on a television show. I'm picturing specifically a few years ago when we were promoting, or I was promoting my You Gotta Know Cleveland sports trivia game. And I drove to Cleveland to be on television for like 10 minutes, then turned around and drove home. But there I sat for half an hour in a green room. That's where you wait to go on TV or to go on stage. But I actually had to plan out, how's this going to work? It's like, okay, doors are at 5:30. It's not like I'm the bride and I don't want anybody to see me in my dress. It's not quite that, but it's not that, right? If the show starts at 7, and my whole thing is I'm going to look fancy, I don't want to be milling about as people are coming in. Like, oh, there's Brad. It just takes away the mystique or something. But it's stuff I didn't think of until I was standing in the room. I'm in the room like, oh, okay, here's the green room. All right, how do I get from the green room to there? Do I come up there? Like, no, there's a spiral staircase that takes you backstage. So you go, I'm in the basement, and then I go up the thing, and then I come out from behind the stage like a real show. I'm so used to doing this casual version of everything that it's, I don't want to say overwhelming. It's super fun, but there's just a lot to think about. Like, all right, do I come out to music? Is it the same song every time? Can I use a real song? Like, can I just pick a song that I think would be awesome to come on stage to? Can I just play the Humpty Dance? I'm not going to do the Humpty Dance, but it's in my head. Or do we want to protect against that that problem that could exist when we put a video on YouTube? Like, do we want to avoid that? In person, in the building, anything goes. It's fine. But if we're making a video, if the show is a video thing, and it is, it's just not the first one. There are 7 cameras that are set up in there that are all just trained on the stage. There are shots, like there's one looking back out at the crowd. It's just a phenomenal venue. You got to see this place. But a lot of discussion on, like, do we want this to be a live stream? And I said, I don't think I do. I think I want it to be available online afterward. I think the goal, like, we'll use Kill Tony as the example. Kill Tony is a comedy show that's not too dissimilar from what I'm trying to pull off here. It's like, we're going to do all the stuff we do, but just make it bigger and fancier. And I'm into trivia, so we're making it a trivia thing. I've hosted live trivia events. I've written a bunch of trivia games. I go to trivia every week, although I won't anymore because I'll be hosting it, because that's been a Tuesday night thing, Tuesday night staple for years for me. But I'm throwing that away to go host this thing. But, man, there's a lot to think about with lights and music. And, we're going to have other people interacting, people that I'm bringing in addition to people in the crowd who may have their names pulled and be brought up on stage to face trivia under pressure with me and a panel. That's a massive part of what we're doing. You're also going to get to play along in the seat, so you don't have to be on the stage. You can buy a ticket and just come hang out and watch and enjoy. And you'll get to play along without the pressure of being up on the stage. But you got to think through, like, what's the order of appearance? Like, am I coming out? Does somebody introduce me? Do I come out and introduce people? Do we do both of those things? When does the music play? Where are the lights? Like, where does the table go? Where's the mic stand for the do we need live music? Like, all that stuff is what's in my head as we're getting set for what is now 13 days away at the Cas in South Buffalo. All right, so there's that. Am I the only person that every time I desperately need to put gas in my car, the weather's terrible? I can't be the only one, but it keeps happening to me. Last night, yesterday was show, followed by meeting at Buffalo Trim, their location on North French near Transit. Come home for like an hour, then drive to West Seneca to pick up my dad, to go to South Buffalo, to bring him back to West Seneca, to come back here, eat dinner, go to basketball practice in Cheektowaga, come back here. I'm on my way to basketball practice in Cheektowaga, and I'm very, very low on gas. And I said to my son, I was taking the little guy, 9-year-old Drew, to practice. I said, on the way home, we have to stop for gas. And he said, okay. He has no control of this. He just sits in the back seat and does what I tell him. We're leaving the school where the practice is, and while it wasn't frigid yesterday, it was. I didn't have a jacket on. I had probably this sweatshirt on. Like, I've got pants on. I'm okay. But I was so cold walking from the school to the car, which was a 25-second walk, that I said, never mind. We're just going to try to get home on no gas. And we made it. We made it totally fine. And then this morning, I had to get up early because my wife had to go into work, which meant I was in charge of getting the kids off, make sure they're off to school. Although Nate was already gone. He had jazz band or something early. So I had to wait for Drew to get on the bus, and then Zach usually walks to school because we live very close. But I said, hey, I need gas. You want me to drive you to school? And he said, yeah. And then I was afraid. I mean, literally, it's maybe a quarter mile from our house to the school, but you get to the school and it's crowded because a lot of kids at the middle school get dropped off for whatever reason. Maybe they live just a little too far to walk. Maybe they're too cool to take the bus. A lot of kids are too cool. Zach is definitely too cool for the bus. Nate's too cool for the bus. Drew likes the bus. I had a fear that I was going to run out of gas while sitting in that bus loop, or not bus loop, but car loop. Like, you go in, you drive, you got to go to the right, and you loop around, and everybody gets into this little thing. You got to go around the cones, and that's where the people get dropped off. I was going to ruin everything at the middle school if I didn't get to the gas station ASAP. But because my son was running late, we didn't have time to get gas and then go to school. We had to take him to school first, and then I had to get gas. And I survived it. Everything's good. I finished there. I went to the gas station. I have gas now. Everything's fine. But just the fact that it was windy last night led to this entire series of events where I was stressing out that I was going to embarrass not only my son, but myself by clogging up this hectic 5 to 10 minute stretch of kids being dropped off at the middle school. That's my day so far. In addition to that, my kid gets out of the car. I must have just not had the radio on while he was in the car. So I turned it on, and I don't know how or why this would have happened, because I've got in the car, it's very important to me what I'm listening to when I'm in the car, as you probably would guess. I really care about a bunch of podcasts that I want to listen to. I currently have Sirius XM, so there's a lot of music that I'm into. That there's a Fish station, Channel 29. that I listen to a lot. I listen to the 80s station. I listen to the Comedy Central station. And then, I don't always do that. There's terrestrial radio involved. I'll certainly listen to GR from time to time because I like the Bills a lot. And they're still in the playoffs, and we'll talk about them, of course, over the course of this show. Bob Gaughan will be here at 11, and I'm sure that football will dominate that portion of the conversation. How on earth, when I turned on the radio, it was on the Christian station? I don't know. I don't know how that, I don't have any idea. It was a number I didn't even recognize, like a 92 something, 92.1 maybe, or 91.9. I don't know. But it was just on, and it was, they said, the best Christian music of yesterday and today. And I'm thinking, like, yesterday, that's hymns, right? And then more recent yesterday would be Striper. And then what? There's Christian music of today. There's enough Christian music to populate a radio station? That's crazy to me. And then, before I even got a chance to hear what a song would sound like on a Christian radio station, I've never listened to a Christian radio station before. I've heard, like, talk radio on Sundays where it's churchy. But as far as, like, the, those Try God bumper stickers that are on cars, like, I don't, maybe this was that station, maybe it was a different one. I don't know. I don't know how it ended up on my thing, but I couldn't turn it up. Because then they taught me, there's a segment, it must happen right at 9 o'clock every day, that you can learn the Bible in 365 days. And I thought, that sounds like fun. I wouldn't mind learning it. And the story they told me today was from, I don't know what book, it doesn't really matter, but it was about, I want to say Abraham, where it was like, they had a kid, and he's like, why don't you kill your kid? And Abraham's like, you serious? And God's like, yeah, kill it. He's like, all right, it's fine. And then right as he's about to kill it, God's like, I was just kidding. And he's like, you got me. And that was the story I learned today from the Bible. It was a good, really good story. Seems like a great book. How ridiculous is that? Okay. Learn the Bible in 365, Abraham. Oh, speaking of my son. 13 years old, and, I mean, you see how gross I am, right? Like, this is disgusting. This is a 51-year-old version of gross. My 13-year-old son is my height. I keep saying 6'2". I bet he's 6'3". It feels like he grows every day. But he's like 6'3" and 200 pounds. He's just a big dude. And big dude, age 13, those kids smell terrible, right? Like, just generally, they're gross. He has switched, though, from most of the time he shows up and you're like, dude, you're disgusting, to how much body spray can you wear? Because he smells overpoweringly fantastic every time he leaves the house now. So it always smells great, but it's way too much. So it's like like you spilled an air freshener in your car. He gets out of the car and it's like, is that Axe? I don't know if it's Axe. It might be Bath and Body Works. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's cologne. It smells like the mall used to smell when I used to go there. And thinking about it, I'm wondering when, because I was into cologne for a while in high school. But for me, it was, in particular, there was this cheap-ass cologne called Preferred Stock. They might still make it. It smelled great. And for some reason, I was the only one who knew about it. I don't know anybody else who ever had it or used it. But I do remember strong compliments about the smell. And I'm wondering if he got that at some point. Someone somewhere was like, Zach, you smell delightful. And then he's like, oh, really? Then I'll just use a full bottle of this stuff every single day. It'd just be a perfume bomb walking around a middle school. All right, that's all I had written down for my first segment. I wrote down low gas, Christian music, learn the Bible in 365, body spray cologne, Buffalo Trim Larry, Brain Vault, Kaz, Dad, Hoyle. That's what I had written down. That means I could take a break right now. Quick timeout. Anything in the chat here? as someone that also stresses over every detail and every logistical possibility, that was a great segment. Thanks, Nick. I'm not even going to say I'm stressed. I'm just going to say, like, you suddenly realize you don't know what you don't know. Like, I don't do stage performances. I've done remotes at car dealerships. You know, I've been set up in the arena for Sabres pregame while people are pouring in, but any show I've ever done, it's always like me off to the side, and there's other stuff going on. Like, oh, what's that dude doing in the corner? Wow, it looks like a radio show. Like, that's the level of public performance that I'm used to. I'm not used to one where, you know, my name will be announced and I will walk out and people will cheer. I'm not used to that. You'll cheer just because that's what you do at these things. You won't be cheering because I'm any good, necessarily. It'll just be like, that's standard practice. When you attend an event and the event starts, we go, hey, doesn't even matter. Jer Hoyle, we know that he's going to be great, but he hasn't done anything yet. He walks out on stage and we're all like, yeah, that guy. It's just my friend Jer, and he's about to be awesome, and we'll cheer when he's awesome, but we cheer before he's awesome. That's just kind of what we do. And I'm not usually in that sort of setting. I'm trying to think if there's anything even similar. Bob and I did a TV show a long time ago, 2007 and 8. We had a TV show, and we were ahead of our time. It was called Buffalo Main Event, and we same type of thing. Like, we had sponsors, we talked sports. It was very, you know, pardon the interruption type of deal. Very much like what you see constantly online now. It was a virtual background. We looked like we were on the flight deck of the Enterprise or something. I don't know. I don't remember how we got around to choosing that background where it sort of looked like a spaceship. But that's where we were. But that was recorded in a studio, which, again, is what I'm used to. Recording things and then them being broadcast. Or speaking but without a microphone. I'm not used to live studio audience. So it's just a whole different thing to think about. I'm excited about it, as you can tell. I keep babbling about it. And I'd like you to go buy tickets at thecasbuffalo.com. Tickets available right now as we speak. Go get them. All right. Timeout. We'll be back. I'm Brad Riter. Bob Gaughan joins me at 11. It's episode 243 of Riter Radio. Today is January 14th. And we're going to play a couple songs, and we'll be back. Stick around. Oh, good. It's a commercial. Well, you know what? I'm going to stick around and not play the commercials. Because, again, I'm not paying for Spotify Premium. I'm also not choosing every song. I like to use the shuffle thing. But after every few songs, it plays commercials. And that's not what I'm going for. So I could just talk over that commercial because the Countdown to Camping RV Showcase sales event does not pertain to me at all. So we'll just sit through this. What else do I have? Oh, I don't know how I missed this until today, that Mike Tomlin is out as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. But they announced on Monday. I didn't see it. I was caught up in, obviously, Bills stuff and playoff stuff, and there was still another game coming up on Monday night. But I watched the game on Monday night, and I don't remember hearing anything about Tomlin being out. But maybe I wasn't paying attention to the audio. Not positive. But, yeah, Tomlin out, and I guess he's still got 2 years left on his contract. So if Mike Tomlin wants to work during that time frame as a coach in the NFL, there might be some sort of a trade where the Steelers have their rights or have his rights and they can move him. I just started thinking about what if, like, from a change of scenery standpoint, Tomlin and Harbaugh just switch spots. Because I think the Giants' job seemed most appealing because of the presence of Jackson Dart. But as far as a stable organization goes, like, Harbaugh brings stability. Steelers are stability. That seems to make sense. He knows the division, all that stuff. That kind of makes sense. And then you could do the same thing for Tomlin. Because Tomlin didn't say, I'm done with football. I'm exhausted. This sucks. He's just like, yeah, we're gonna stop this now. It's been 19 years. Time to move on. We're ready for the Steelers to have the fourth head coach of my lifetime. That's crazy talk. It was Chuck Noll forever. It was Bill Cowher forever. It was Mike Tomlin forever, and they are seeking a new head coach. And I just can't help but think those two guys swapping spots might not be awful. It'd be kind of fun. All right, now we'll play. Now we'll play music. Be right back. I'm Brad. It's Riter Radio.
Let's check in with Riter Radio's
living legend,
Bob Gaughan.
The way my kids date now, it's so simple. They go on an app, whether it's Grindr or whatever, they swipe right, swipe left, and they get the date automatic.
And now we check in with the living legend, Bob Gaughan, as we continue with Riter Radio, episode 243. 243 is a lot of episodes, I think, of a show. Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good, Brad. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. The music's too loud and the Bob's not loud enough. There we go. Now we got you. How are things?
Doing great. You?
Yeah, I'm good. Football continues. Football continues. I did not like yesterday because I really got used to football every night. It was great. The 2 playoff games in college, followed by 3 days of NFL playoffs. And then yesterday I was just like, but I'm ready for it to come back.
I am absolutely, yes, excited. Again, we got 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I do want to start, though, with the little conspiracy theory,
okay,
if I can.
Do it.
Well, you tell me. I don't do if we talk to how I walk a dog every night, my son's dog, the big dog, me and the big dog walk every morning and every night,
okay.
To get my steps in.
I've heard a mention of this. I didn't know that it was a daily thing, but that's cool.
So my conspiracy theory is because it's going to snow tomorrow, right?
Maybe.
It is. I mean,
I get all my weather from my wife, and now I'll take it from you too. I don't pay attention to anything. I just, if it's snowing, I know that it's snowing. I don't ever know that it's going to snow. I only know that it is snowing.
So my conspiracy theory is, as I walk around the block every morning and every night, the corner houses in my neighborhood. So I don't know if you have sidewalks in your neighborhood.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So and it's very simple for me because I have probably 8 blocks of concrete in front of my house, and even if I do my neighbor's house, my son's house, and whatever, it takes me no time because it's a very small amount of concrete,
okay.
Right? But when you go around the corners, if you got a corner house, I'm sorry, I didn't want to buy a corner house because there's 3 times as much, concrete. And then so there's 2 kind of corner houses on each corner. And my conspiracy is I think that they get together. If it was like me and you and say, Brad, I'm going to look bad if I shovel and you don't. So neither of them shovel ever. No, so I'm talking in my neighborhood. For the most part, everybody shovels except the corner houses because I think they're in cahoots together.
Right.
Because nobody wants to do it because when I say there's 8 blocks of concrete in front of my house or your house, there's probably 30 blocks of concrete that they got to do around the corner.
Wrap around, yeah.
Wrap around. And they sit together and say, well, do you want to do 30? No, I don't want to do 30. You want? No. So let's neither one of us do it. And everybody kind of understands like, this is just too much. This is too much concrete in order to do it. So we don't do it. I don't know if if you don't walk a dog, you wouldn't even know this.
Well, no,
unless you walk a dog.
Or if you live right by the corner, which is where I live. I don't live at the corner. I live next to the corner house. So there's me, and then there's the corner house. But guess what? The corner house, when we moved in, we moved in 7 years ago or something. It was, an 80-year-old man. And since then, he's been in and out of hospitals and rehabs, and the house has been vacant, and it's been sold, and that leaves it as that's mine now, right? Like as a responsible human being, that's me. So now, granted, this year so far, I've had the snowblower out once, a total of once, and honestly, I just had it out because I own it. Like it was very shovelable. But also, you want to pull that thing and make sure that it's running this year. So I went and did it. I've only done it once. We haven't had much to deal with. But the house is sold. Nobody's moved in yet. So I've got vacant on that side. The other side of me, we've got a 96-year-old man and his 63-year-old daughter or something that has moved back in to Buffalo to stay with him. So I'm kind of responsible for not just mine. And I don't live on the corner, but the corner's right next to me. So I've got to kind of I got to help out to the left because he's 96 and they're awesome. But I don't want this woman to have to do it herself. He goes out, he shovels a little bit. Like, he likes to be active. It's not super effective, but he does it. But then on the other side, Larry's gone. So now I just got to deal with Larry's whole sidewalk too. I don't have to worry about his driveway because there's nobody there. But if people want to, and there are so many dogs in our neighborhood, we've got somebody down the street that fosters dogs. They walk down the street. It'll be like the wife will be walking. She'll have 2 on a leash and 1 little crippled one in a backpack. And then the dad will come, or the husband will come, or one of the kids will come. And they've got like 3 more. There are so many dogs walking around in my neighborhood, and I would feel terrible if anything happened. So I kind of, not only do I agree with you that, yeah, people are conspiring in your neighborhood to not make each other look bad, but I will look bad if I don't take responsibility for a total of 3 houses, despite only owning 1.
Right. I have 4. So because I got my house, and I don't know if we've ever brought this up, but my son lives next to me.
I know that, yeah.
And he's useless, so I got to do his, right? So I do his, and then next to us on both sides is an elderly lady on my side. I got to do hers,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And there's a middle-aged lady on his side, so I'm up to 4, and that's where I just stop. I mean, come on, I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't know
work
who's on
here.
I don't know who's on the other side. They don't do it that much, but I'm sorry. 4's enough.
It's got to, yeah.
4's enough. But I'll take responsibility for those 4. But so I do it. But I think the corner houses, just in my neighborhood, I think they just say,
Cahoots.
forget it, people. You just go in the street, trudge through it, because we ain't doing it. And I don't know.
You have a snowblower at least?
Well, but the same thing. Yes, we have a snowblower, but I think we've only used it once this year because the snows. That the problem is, you're right. In this particular year, it's never been enough for you to say, well, we got to bring out the snowblower.
Right.
You feel like an idiot. Let's bring out the snowblower. What for?
An
2
inch
inches?
and a half, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way it's been. It's like this whole winter has just been 2 inches of snow, and I feel like, no, we ain't bringing out the snowblower for this. So I'm just shoveling. So I've been shoveling, all
4
winter.
driveways. Look at you. That's
4,
why you're.
yeah.
That's why you're
But
in
they're
such
small.
great shape.
Yeah, right. And walk the dog twice.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah. All right. On to football.
All right.
The Bills.
Yeah.
The Jacksonville game, I guess the most interesting thing is if they would have lost. I mean, are you kidding me? How they didn't kneel it out on that, on the 1 yard line, and given Jacksonville 20 seconds rather than a minute is would have really, because I really think that McDermott had a great game. Other than that,
he challenged successfully. I was ready. I never yell at him, and I said directly to my television, if you don't pull out that challenge flag right now, John Harbaugh replaces you tomorrow. I said that to my TV, and he did.
Right.
He pulled it out, and it was right, and they got the call, and it worked out. But
and again, I thought they had a good defensive game plan. I thought he had a great game up until that point. And again, it's one of these things, and this is the thing with him, is these things that I don't think you can prepare for. Because if you can prepare for it, I think he's the most prepared guy, ever. But when 13 seconds come up, when the wind game against New England comes up, when the kneeling the ball against Denver a couple of years ago with Russell Wilson comes up, when this comes up, and it's thinking outside the box, because this is definitely thinking outside the box. I mean, who would not score if you can score? Well, in this particular situation, when they got a field goal kicker that can kick it from 70, you might have wanted to do that.
Yep.
And it just seems like he fails every time when it comes to those. It's not just one situation. If it was just one time, but now this is like the 4th or 5th time where it calls.
When things get weird and it calls for quick thinking, okay, this is not traditional. What are we doing right in this moment? Yeah, I agree. There's not a lot there. He's very prepared, like you said, very prepared, very good at the inside the box thinking, the preparation, the culture, the this, the that. Yeah. But in the moment, I will say this, I don't know that it's in his defense, but when the Broncos, so we were talking about it, like you're going to run some time here. You got to run some time here. And even my 11-year-old's like, we got to make them use their timeout. Like minimally, that's what has to happen. And I agreed. But then because of the runoff and they elected to use the timeout, now they're down to no timeouts. And now I felt slightly better about just going in because I don't want to go backwards. What if I kneel it and now I'm at the 2 instead of the 1? Or it wasn't even the 1. It was like the 3-inch line. And now I'm at the 2. And now I take a false start penalty because it's loud in Jacksonville. And now I'm at the 7. And I could have just put it in and taken the lead and been okay. So, like, there is a part of me that accepts why that happened. But I do agree that overall it's a problem when we need to think quickly in the moment. It doesn't seem to happen.
And they were letting you score. They basically pulled you in the end zone at that point. That was another thing that made it look bad.
Right. Whatever they want me to do, I should do the opposite thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the one interesting thing. The other interesting thing probably to come out of the Jacksonville game has nothing to do about sports. It was the stupid question that asked Liam Cohen at the end, and the death of journalism. Because, in a press conference, and again, the criticism and the criticism of the criticism is what gets me. First of all, it's a press conference where you're supposed to ask questions. You're not supposed to make statements.
Right.
The lady makes a statement.
Consoling Liam Cohen. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And then Adam Schefter, who the reason that I heard about it, the way most of us heard about it, was because Adam Schefter tweets, what a great response between a reporter and Liam Cohen, and everybody's like, Adam Schefter, this tells me everything I need to know about you because this is an embarrassment. This is not great journalism. It's not journalism at all.
It's not anything.
And then I hear her come on and say, I've interviewed, Barack Obama, and my first thought is, okay, what tough question did you ask Barack Obama?
Right.
Or did you just say, Barack, you're just the greatest president of all time? And I really want to know what that interview went like, right? Because I guarantee you there were no hard-hitting questions in that interview.
Yeah.
Again,
it was so weird.
The defense of her on ESPN and Adam Schefter tells the bigger concern here, the bigger issue is the death of journalism, which is what we talk about, I think, a lot of times when you and I talk. This is an example of it. That anybody would even defend her is the death of journalism. That's my problem.
Have you thought about what you would do if you were Liam Cohen in that situation? It's like, I just lost a playoff game. We did have a pretty good year. And tomorrow I'm going to feel okay about where we're headed. But right now I just lost a playoff game. I don't want to be rude to this kind woman who's telling me everything's going to be okay. But at some point, if you're Liam Cohen, like, okay, I got it. Do you have a question? Can we move on?
Yeah.
Like, can we talk about the football game? And, I appreciate it. And I think he was put in a tough spot there, too, because you're not going to be mean to this woman. But also, my God, what are we talking about? Like, what are we looking at? What's happening?
Well, the other thing is, I got news for Liam Cohen, that they lost a game where they were the better team. I still think Jacksonville, the one thing about this Denver game is I think the Bills did beat the best team the team that was playing the best was Jacksonville.
Right.
I think they were playing better than anybody else. So when you continue, this is where he deserved to have to answer tough questions. I know they didn't have the better quarterback, but they had the better team. That team was good, that Jacksonville team. And, you mentioned Harbaugh already. I still think there were ramifications that Harbaugh lost to the Bills last year when everybody knew in the playoffs he had the better team too. When you start losing games with the better team, that's when people start asking for you to be fired. We could go to the Tomlin situation. The one defense of Tomlin is, he's never had the better quarterback. A lot of times Tomlin wins with the team that's not the better team.
Yeah.
And he wins so much that they never get a high draft pick, that he can never get a good quarterback, but he's somehow winning games with Duck Hodges as their quarterback, or Mason Rudolph, and he's winning games, and it's preventing them from getting a high draft pick.
Right.
But that's not the problem. The problem is when you lose games with the better team, and that's what Jacksonville did last week. So not only did it not call for any ass kissing, it actually called for some real questions there.
Well, I have one. I have one. What is it? You were talking about McDermott and what he's good at in preparation and all that. Does he also hypnotize opposing coaches and tell them to stop running the ball when they're picking up 9 yards a chunk?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Why did they stop? I'm glad they did. But why on every time Trevor Lawrence dropped back to pass, that was a victory for Buffalo, New York. And they kept doing it. And the more they relied on him, the more they isolated him against Josh Allen, the less they were the better team. When they're running the football, they're the better team. When he's dropping back to pass, they're not the better team. So he made his team the worst team by trying to utilize Trevor Lawrence, who we knew was going to give us the ball 2 to 3 times in the game. We knew that was going to happen if we're the Buffalo Bills. That's part of our game plan, is taking the ball away from that guy. We're not forcing fumbles. We're taking the ball from him. And they allowed it. I mean, it's crazy to me.
Would not only run the ball, but again, to go further into that, you had to run the ball outside. Because when they were running the ball inside, the Bills were stopping them. They stopped running the ball outside, which was, again, the bigger – that's the question to ask him, not, oh, we're so proud of you. Oh, God, it made me sick. That absolutely made me sick.
Yeah.
By the way, this week – the Bills are going to have to run the ball. The Bills, I mean, obviously, when you're down to 3 receivers, and now Keon Coleman, he could change the narrative about this season.
Really could.
He really can. There's opportunity. You can look at it as a positive, Keon Coleman. There's opportunity for you to totally change the narrative of this whole season because you've got to play. Yeah. And also, Curtis Samuel, and we, criticized Brandon Beane for Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel because both have been disasters. Well, that narrative could change. It could be the same next week, but it could totally change if Samuel plays well and Coleman plays well. So that's, I think, the interesting part, along with can the Bills, and I'm sure everybody's seen it on X, they have a tremendous advantage in terms of weight. Offensive line, the Bills' offensive line versus the Denver defensive line, and you cannot get into a situation where you have to pass against this Denver team. They lead the league in sacks. They're just going to pin their ears back. You don't have great receivers, so this game has to stay close, and the Bills have to continue to be able to run the ball against Denver this week if they're going to be successful.
Keon Coleman could be the Super Bowl MVP because it would be so surprising if he did anything. He could be the Super Bowl MVP, or he could not be on the team 2 weeks from now. A week from now, that's where we are with him as far as a crossroads, because they tried as much as they could to tell us at the beginning of the year that this was going to be different, but we've obviously seen it has not been different in any way. So yeah, he's got an opportunity. There are moments he makes a catch a game usually when they allow him to play, but they're going to have to because I really don't think you're going to rely on Christian Wilkerson to be your top dog in the passing game. Unbelievable. The Gabe Davis thing is just so sad to me. I know that I like him more than most people do, but I think people were starting to be like, oh yeah, that's right. This guy was a thing, and he's been a big deal in the playoffs. Now, of course, we remember him in the Chiefs game with the 4 touchdowns and 200 yards and all that. He was starting to show that stuff, and I felt like he had an opportunity, a tremendous opportunity, to remind all of Buffalo, Western New York, how good a player, how intense a player, and what a good match he was for this club. And then he gets blown up, and that just sucks.
Well, not only him and Shavers
were too. Right.
They were the blocking guys. That's where Keon Coleman's going to have to come in as well, along with the way he catches the ball is going to be the way he blocks, because Curtis Samuel is not going to help you in the running game. And if they're going to win this game because of help in the running game, it's Keon Coleman's ability to block along with his ability to catch, because you just lost your 2 best, blocking receivers in the same time. And that's the other thing that gets me is these people that, if you're going to give McDermott a pass for the injuries and the way as well as he done, and he has with the defense this year, well, you gotta also kind of give Beane the pass with the injuries too, right? Because this is not the team that they had envisioned them being together. So I think you either give them both a pass or you don't give either one of them a pass, right? I mean, because you're going to say, well, with Beane, you're going to say, well, the team wasn't good enough at receiver anyway before. But when you lose 3 guys in a week at receiver, that's kind of tough, right? I mean, that's a tough spot to put, to hold against Beane. I think in that sense, the only way you can hold against him is said, even if Davis and Shavers and everybody else on the field, you still weren't good enough. I guess that's the only way you could still hold it against him.
Yeah, but then you also think about problems on the defense. It's like, well, we saw what it looked like when Ed Oliver played for a game. and we saw what it looked like when Hoyt played for a game, and those were two massive parts of what they were trying to do on the defensive line. It happens. It happens in football. Everybody's got injuries to deal with, but this is excessive, man. But they still only have to win 3 more games to be champions. So that's there. And I don't view Denver as a massive threat. I can't look at a picture. There's a story I'm reading online, and the picture at the top of it is a picture of Josh Allen's face and a picture of Bo Nix's face, and I don't want to hear about injuries because I know there's more to football than quarterback, but not always. Sometimes it's this. You put Josh next to Trevor Lawrence, who do you think is going to win the game? I think Josh is going to win the game, and I know there's way more to it, but I don't know. They're still right there. They play well. I think obviously they're a good team. Are they at their best right now? No, not necessarily, but that's what Josh is for.
How about the hypocrisy, since we're going that way, of like Ryan Clark of ESPN? It just can't stand him. So he's like last week that Josh Allen. There's no excuses. Josh Allen has got to win. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's your take. They come and ask him who's going to win the Jacksonville Bills game. Well, it's going to be Jacksonville. Jacksonville's so much better team than Buffalo. Okay, well wait a minute.
Which one is it?
So which one is it? So then Jacksonville's going to win, but if Jacksonville wins because of the better team in your eyes, you're still going to then rip Josh Allen for not winning the game. So no consistency there whatsoever. I can't stand Ryan Clark. But it's not just him. It's not just him.
Yeah, and I want to stick on him for a second because Ryan Clark was one of the dirtiest players to ever play in the NFL. And I don't know how many people remember headshot after headshot after headshot from Ryan Clark. I couldn't stand him as a player. And then he's this like sanctimonious. He drives me insane. I also think he's a very good broadcaster. So that part drives me crazy too. Like he's very good at what he does. He's very believable if you don't know the background that this is one of the dirtiest guys I've ever seen play the game.
No, I can't. By the way, Jacksonville I thought was really dirty in that
Really
game.
dirty. Really dirty. Like I was questioning, was there a bounty? Like specifically, was there money available for taking Allen out of the game?
Well, not only that, but okay, there was the Allen part of it, but again, the biggest wimp move of all time, Brad. If you are going to hit me, the worst thing I could ever do to you, you and I get into a fight. What's the biggest wimpy thing I can do to you? Go after your knees, right? That is the cowardly act of any fight. Right?
Yeah.
And they went after James Cook's knees. There was a pass to him. They went right for his knee, and Gabe Davis. They literally took his knee out, and there was those two. There was a third time as well. It might have been after Allen too. Again, go after the knees 3 times. Yeah. I'm telling you, I hate that. That's the last thing you would ever a man would ever do in a fight, would ever go after somebody's knees. It's the most cowardly act of all, and they did it like 3 times in that game.
At least 3. I still haven't seen the play where Shavers got hurt. I don't know what that was, but that's a knee. I mean, things happen. I get that. But specifically with Allen, early in the game, the first time he had to come off the field was he's sacked, he's down, and then it was almost a Hulk Hogan leg drop onto his head while he's already down, no call. The touchdown that he scored where his knee is injured, that to me was he's already stopped and now there's someone specifically attacking the knee. He banged his hand on a helmet. That's nobody's fault. But yeah, to me it felt very intentional. With regard specifically to Allen. But yeah, now that you mentioned it, the Cook one where he got upended and landed on his head after being hit in the knee was gross. There's a lot going on there that was questionable, to say the least.
Absolutely. All right. Lastly, college football.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you. Let's go with Indiana again as our lock.
You and Scott both did it last week. You both got it right by a lot. What is going on with that team?
Well, first, coaching is going on.
Unbelievable.
Because I think the great stat is they had 8 4-star recruits and 0 5-star recruits. Oregon had 55 4- and 5-star recruits.
Wow.
And Indiana blew them out. That's coaching, and that's without a doubt. They coach up their players, or they find the fit that is best for them. So I will. The old. I don't think you know this song. Indiana Wants Me, but I can't go back there. Did you ever hear that song?
I do not know that one.
Okay. And there's 3 great stats. This is courtesy of our friend Mr. Brutal. 3 great stats about that song. Ardeen Taylor sung this song in like 1970 or something. Indiana Wants Me, but I can't go back there. So we're gonna go with that. The three great stats about that song is he was the only Ardeen Taylor, Canadian artist, was one of the only white artists that was signed by Berry Gordy of Motown Records. Berry Gordy decides in like around 1970 he's got to branch out from Motown because he's only got black artists. He wants some white artists, so he starts this Rare Earth label. It wasn't very successful, but one song that was successful was this song, and it was so one of the first. That's the first interesting thing. Berry Gordy was the producer of that song. Second, it was one of the few songs. And it's politically incorrect. It was from the viewpoint of a killer.
Oh.
So that's not politically correct anymore. But the song is.
I don't think it was politically correct then either, Bob.
Probably not from the viewpoint of a killer. And the third thing about it was there were sirens in the background, and when you would play the song or the song was on the radio, people were pulling over their car.
I have had a major problem with that for a long time. It's prevalent in hip hop. I mean, there are police sirens in every NWA song, and I always think something's going on. I always think I did something wrong. I didn't. I'm fine.
So, listen, people out there, Indiana Wants Me, but I can't go back there. Ardeen Taylor, you heard it. We're going to go with Indiana Wants Me with the national championship game on Monday night, and it's over a touchdown. It's 7.5. A little worried about that hook there, but we're going to take it anyway.
Not after watching what they've done the last 3 times out. I'm not worried about anything with that team. I mean, I just wow, it's crazy. Do you believe in Mendoza as an NFL prospect?
No. I don't think he's going to be that great. I think the quarterbacks this year, he's the best of a bad lot. The other thing that bothers me about, does this bother you? Do you like this or not like this? All the U players on the sideline, the Michael Irvin on the sidelines, Ray Lewis, Jimmy Johnson on the sidelines. That makes me root for Indiana more. I'm going to answer you both ways here. I like it because it makes me hate them more, and it reminds me that Miami is not a team that anyone should ever be rooting for. There's just something wrong down there that I don't like it. So, yes, I like specifically Irvin. Irvin looks like an insane person at all times. Every time they cut to him, like, what happened, dude? And I don't know, years of cocaine, maybe. But, yeah, I'm glad that they're there because it makes it very clear who I'm rooting for when that team is on the field. So that helps me. We're going to play your song, Bob. When we're going to say goodbye to you, and we're going to play Indiana Wants Me. Here's what's exciting. I just looked it up. I found 4 different versions of it. I'm going to play the one that you're referring to, which is Indiana Wants Me commercial version, Ardeen Taylor. There's also one called Indiana Wants Me Eddie Taylor. I don't know what that is. There's a re-recorded version by Ardeen Taylor. And then there's also a cover version by Gin Blossoms, Blues Traveler, and Spin Doctors, which is interesting to me. I'm going to give them the real one. I'm going to give you the real one. But I'm not aware of the song. I've never heard it before, but it's coming up next. All right. See, I'm glad because there's very few times that I can ever give you information about music, about a song that you've never heard. I mean, it's not very common, so I'm glad that I was able to do that this week.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, Bob.
You got it.
There is Bob Gone. He is our grinder. He's the best.
My kids date now. It's so simple. They go on an app, whether it's Grindr or whatever. They swipe right, swipe left, and they get the date automatically.
All right, let's hit you with Ardeen Taylor, Indiana Wants Me, the commercial version, signed to Berry Gordy's label, or the Rare Earth label under Berry Gordy, which is like probably a subsidiary of Motown, would be my guess. White guy signed by Berry Gordy, brought up by Bob Gone. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we bring you on episode 243 of Riter Radio. Stay tuned.
This is Riter Radio.
Sure, it really is. This guy's not kidding. He's not messing around. Big voice guy. Oh, my hood's up. That was cold. That looks weird. Hold on. I look like Nate. My son Nate wears hoods all the time. It's like his signature look. He's got a yellow, like, Hollister hoodie that he will wear until we make him take it off because he'll just have it on for days at a time. And then he'll replace it. There's an Ohio State red one that he wears with the hood up all the time. I saw a picture from school. His teacher sent out, we're working on this project, and it's all the kids standing around. It's easy to find my kid. He's the one with a yellow hood on while in class. Is that okay? We couldn't wear hats. We couldn't wear shorts. These kids just do that all the time. I watched Drew get dressed this morning. Just in the living room, takes his pants off. I'm like, what are you doing? He's putting on shorts to put on under his pants so that when he gets to school, he can take off his pants and wear shorts. We got a note last year that he was doing that like every day in winter. Like, are you aware that your son wears shorts every day at school? They don't mind, but it's just weird, right? It isn't like the restriction of pants. The other thing I've noticed about kids, now I'm old, but the standard casual wear my whole life has been jeans. And my kids hate jeans. Hate them. Everything's got to be like athletic-y, soft, they call them soft pants. But whether they're full-on sweatpants or just kind of the, I don't know, like polyester sort of vibe, whatever it is, jeans are too restrictive to my kids. I remember when I was a kid thinking it was weird that, so I would go to church when I was a kid, and jeans were not an option. That wasn't possible. You just didn't do that. But then we would go over to my grandma's house, and all my cousins would be there coming from church down the street, and they had jeans on. I was like, how come they can wear jeans? And my mom's answer of, because they're Catholic, didn't make sense to me then, and it, I think, makes less sense to me now. We used to class it up. Like, I'm going to class it up at the Brain Vault thing coming up 2 weeks from yesterday. Brain Vault live trivia show at the Kaz, me and friends. And it's going to be every Tuesday starting the 27th. Tickets available online at thekazbuffalo.com. Go get them. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. I had a conversation yesterday with Jeremy Hoyle, and I can't just do what he told me. I have to do it this way. He said, hey, I've noticed something about you, and I want you to listen, and I want you to do what I'm telling you. He said, because I had to fight through this too. And he's like, look, you are good at what you do. We don't know what this is yet, but sell it. Don't keep talking about how you're just making it up and it'll get better. And don't do that. He's like, by the time you hit the stage, you're going to be completely ready. So talk about it like you're going to be completely ready. And I am going to be completely ready. He's right. But it was like a pep talk. And he said he had to fight through it too. Because he's never been into self-promotion. And I'm not into self-promotion. I want to just do this thing and have people notice it and like it and find it and share it and do all that stuff. I don't want to be beating my chest, but this is the best. You got to tune in. It's awesome. You got to come to my trivia show. It's awesome. It's got to be awesome. Like, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think it was going to be awesome. But he's right in that while I will, I have an arrogance to me, I know, that comes through at times, but I also am, I don't know if humble's the right word. Like, if you can call yourself humble, you're probably not humble. But I do strive for humility as opposed to, you got to go, it's going to be the best. My show's better than that show. This thing is going to be better than that. I'm doing it because I believe I'm going to do it better than everyone. And that's why I'm doing it. Because I'm going to go on a stage and entertain a room full of people in a super cool venue with all these ideas that have been kicking around in my head, and I haven't taken them to a stage before. But I'm taking them to a stage. This is it. Live performer me needs to be more confident than sitting in the basement talking into a microphone me. Or not even needs to be more confident, but I need the same level of confidence that allows me to do this 243 days in a row. Give or take, you know what I mean? I don't do weekends. But the thing that allows me to put on a headset and broadcast a college football game. I did a game this year. I was the color guy for a game when Paul Peck was out for a couple weeks. There was a game where I just did it. And going in, I was like, I don't know if I can do it. Of course I could do it. Well, I can't. I usually sit in that chair, and now I'm going to sit in this chair, and I'm going to suddenly be incapable of performing. No, I got it. So Jared's my life coach now, I guess, and he has told me to add confidence. Do everything with confidence, you'll be fine. And I believe that in life. I believe that when So I told you already, we've got the sponsor that's going to clean up my head and my face. Buffalo Trim. 6 locations in Western New York. I sent an email and said, hey, I got this thing I want to talk to you about. He called me. I had never met him before, but I was confident on the phone. I said, look, I'm doing this thing. I think it's super cool. I need a partner. I think you're the exact partner. I searched, and you're the guy, and I would like, to come in and talk to you about it. He's like, okay. And then even in the conversation, I heard myself, the way that I was talking in the conversation, as if I knew this guy and as if I knew he was going to say yes, because it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I like it. I found the right dude, and it worked. And seriously, I was in the conversation with him for 10 minutes, and he even said, he's like, my gut is telling me yes. Like, this sounds like something we should do, so let's do it. So we're going to. So that's fun, too. Incorporating local businesses to be a part of what we're doing. Because I really think, A, the show is going to be awesome. But B, it's going to be better if we can do fun stuff around it, like fix this. I might need a makeup artist. Probably not. I'm not doing makeup. We'll be fine. Hey, has anyone else noticed the newfound prevalence of podcasts on Netflix? They have flipped some sort of switch has been flipped at Netflix. And suddenly all the things that I tend to listen to are video podcasts on Netflix. And say all of them, but it's like Kill Tony is not always on Netflix, but they've done 3 different Netflix shows now, including one that I watched last night. It was their New Year's Eve show that they did at the arena in Austin. It was massive. It had all kinds of celebrity guest appearances, and it was cool. James McCann was on it, who I've seen perform recently at Helium. Joe DeRosa was on it, who I've seen perform at the arena when he was one of the openers for Shane Gillis. Rogan was there. Rob Schneider was there. Carrot Top was there. Carrot Top is better than you think he is. If you haven't seen him or witnessed him in a while, he's kind of been a punchline because he's a prop comic, and that doesn't exist anymore. But as has been pointed out by someone, I don't remember who, maybe Rogan. Yeah, he was there too. Carrot Top was so good at prop comedy that prop comedy went away. There aren't prop comics. That used to be like a genre of comedy. And Carrot Top was so good at it that nobody else did it anymore. And now it's his own thing. He shows up on Kill Tony, and it seems like this old-timey thing. But it's funny. It's really funny. It's really stupid and just, like, silly. And that's cool. It's fun. So don't laugh at Carrot Top. It's a bad name. His face is weird-looking. But I swear to you, he's entertaining. He's fun. He's come back into my life in the last year or so, just popping up on random shows that I usually listen to. Kill Tony is a YouTube show that I was drawn to the audio of first, but I've since come to like the video part. So I do usually watch that. It comes out every Monday. But turn on Netflix the other day, Sunday night after the game. I'm sure I told this story on Monday, but I'm just going to tell it again real quick because it has expanded since. Sunday I watched the early game, then I watched the Bills game, then I watched the late. No, I'm sorry. Bills were first. Bills game, middle game I kind of was in and out on because I just didn't have it in me to lock onto the couch for 9 or 10 straight hours of football. And then I wanted to watch the Patriots lose to the Chargers. That didn't happen, but I watched it anyway. And then once that was done, I said, all right, I'm done with football. It's enough football for today. We'll get more football tomorrow. And I went downstairs to turn on Netflix and I'll watch a movie. I'll fall asleep watching a movie. And the first thing that popped up was Bill Simmons and Cousin Sal are live right now. And it was their first Netflix podcast. They have a new relationship. I thought it was The Ringer has a relationship with Netflix, and now we're going to be able to see those shows on there. And I've heard about this, too, from my favorite podcast that has been gone for several months, but we'll be back. Rob Harvilla, 60 Songs That Explain the 90s, is coming back. And he popped in a month or so ago for one episode, despite taking months off, where he was talking about new thing, Netflix, cameras, whole different vibe. When it returns, it'll be bigger and badder. I almost said bigger and deafer. And then it could have said bigger and better, but then I said bigger and badder, which I think is also maybe an LL Cool J reference. I don't know. But not just that. So Simmons is there. This week's Kill Tony is there. Pardon My Take was on there, like right on my thing. I mean, it knows me. Algorithms, they know what I'm into. But it presented me with Pardon My Take, Kill Tony, and live Bill Simmons. And that's the stuff that usually I just hear on my phone. I'll listen in my car. I'll listen in headphones as I'm walking, whatever. No, that's what's Netflix. That's what Netflix is doing now, because everything is the same. There's an article I read recently. I didn't read it. I'm sorry. I heard a conversation about it on another podcast about how everything is television. This included. This, you might be just listening. You might be watching it on a phone. You could sit and watch it on YouTube on a large television if you wanted to. I don't recommend it. Again, we're trying to make my head smaller. You put it on a big screen. Now it's bigger. I got to get more haircuts. We don't need that. But podcasts migrating to Netflix is clearly a strategy of theirs that has kicked into full gear within the last couple of days. And I'm here for it. Like I think that's great. That'll suck me in. These are the people I like to listen to, so I'll watch them instead. And it's going to take away from movies and regular TV shows and stuff, because when I turn on the TV, not knowing what I'm looking for, and I see a face that I like, I don't mean that, oh, what a great face you have, Cousin Sal. I just mean when I see a personality that I like, I'm drawn to it. I'll hit play. So that may have changed. And what was once an audio medium has now made its way fully to my television set, which is all right. I've got you on a theater projector, Brad. No, you do not, Nick. Nick, in for 3 tickets. See you at the Cas. Nice. Nick, I applaud you. I applaud every single one of you who has any level of interest. Please come out. It's going to be awesome. And this is not going to be the kind of, because it costs money. Like I for years have been going to trivia night. It doesn't cost money. It ends up costing money because I buy beer. But this is a night out. This is just when you see the lights, you'll be like, oh, this is a real show. It's not just Brad in his basement. It's going to be a real thing. With lights and music and fun and comedy and trivia, and you're going to want to do it. And I don't expect the same people to be there week after week, because it's going to run you a pretty penny. Tickets are between $15 and $20. They have 2 different levels of ticket available. They're $15 or $20, and that's inclusive. So it's not that plus fees. That includes the fees, ticketing fees. But it's cool. You go click on it like you were going to a concert where you get to pick out your tickets. You know, if you were going to see a band at Shays, you just go in there and be like, I want that one and that one and that one. Or at the arena, you're like, I want that one, that one, that one. That's what it's like. So you just go in, you pick out your tickets, you buy them, you're all set. 27th is the debut of that. Is there anything left here? Sabres are playing tonight. They're home against the Flyers. It's a TNT game, so I think I can watch that one. I've maligned the MSG situation here. I got YouTube TV, and I'm not going to switch. We've only had it for, a year and a half or something. I'm not ready to make a move to something else just because the Sabres have won some games lately. For the most part, it took a while for me to notice that I didn't have access to Sabres games, because that's how rarely I tried to tune in, because they never won. But now they've won, 12 of 14 or 13 of 15 or something like that. Currently 1 point out of a playoff spot, but that keeps flip-flopping. They're right in that conversation at about the halfway point of the season. Maybe tonight's the night that I actually tune in and watch a Sabres game from start to finish or close, because it's on TNT and I get that one. So that's cool. I have a feeling I'm going to actually want to talk about that team tomorrow, because I have a feeling I'm going to watch the game, because there's no football until Saturday, which sucks after 5 days of just mainlining college and NFL playoff football into my bloodstream. I missed it last night. I was a little sad. Thought of just watching the Bills game again. Didn't. Went to a basketball practice, and then what did I do? Well, then I watched Kill Tony, Came home off Kill Tony. All right. That's it for today. That's all I have written down. I don't have anything else. There's probably stuff in my phone, but I don't even feel like digging through that. We'll do another show tomorrow. It'll be fine. Episode 244 is tomorrow. That's a Thursday. No guest lined up, but I think I should probably get one. So between now and then, I'll come up with something so it's not just me rambling at you for 2 hours about my upcoming trivia event that I want you to buy tickets for, thecasbuffalo.com. All right? Look for it. It's called Brain Vault. There's a picture that looks kind of like this, but if I was better groomed. Because I used AI to convert just a picture of me into a headshot. And then I sent that over, and it's there, and it's like, it's me, but it's not. It's a little bit funny. Like Jeremy said yesterday, he kind of wants to put on there like a arrow pointing saying, this is AI. But it's mostly what I look like. It's just like if I looked a little smoother. And I'm going to look smoother, thanks to Buffalo Trim, next week. Okay, I'm done for the show. Thank you. Or I'm done for today, I should say. Thank you for listening, chatting, sharing, subscribing. Subscribe, please. I feel like there are people here who watch or listen every day and have not subscribed on Spotify and or YouTube. I'd like you to subscribe to both, even if you don't use both. Just do it. It's helpful to me. The more people that subscribe, the more people it gets put in front of that might find it. So it's all one big process here. If you ever plan on Jer or Bulldog, you should let us know ahead. If you can, I can put it in the WGR Discord. I plan on everyone, honestly. But I don't want to reveal. I've got a lot of maybe probablys out there. I've got a couple of yeses, but I want to confirm, like, I don't want to lie to you and tell you I think somebody's going to be there. That wouldn't be lying. I don't want to tell you I think someone's going to be there and then have them not be there, and then you're mad at me or them, and it's just that it didn't work out that time. So as we get closer, I'll probably be able to reveal some or most of the lineup for night one. But as of right now, I'm not ready to do that. I meant for this show, actually. I don't know what that means. Oh, you can put it in the disc. Yeah. People are going to be involved. I have a lot of friends. They're all interested in this kind of stuff. Not everyone's available all the time. But you're thinking the right way, Nick, about who my friends are and who might be participating in something like this. So it's not going to be strictly a, me plus GR thing. I'll tell you right now, it's me plus. As of right now, my guess is me plus a former GR person and plus a writer. Not Brad Riter kind of writer, but writer with a W. He might also have a podcast. That's the expectation. But I don't want to. We'll get to it, man. Still got 13 days. We'll lock it in. All right. Now I'm done. Russillo is on Netflix, too. That's right. I saw Russillo and Ringer Fantasy Football Guys. I don't watch fantasy football stuff or listen to it. But, yes, Russillo, I watched a little bit of him. He's got a thing behind him. He's got his ocean view or whatever's happening there. I watched a couple minutes of that. But it's nice to see all this happening. All right. I'm going to read your comment, Nick, and if I understand it, cool. And if I don't, I'm not mad at you. Sorry. I mean, if you get them to call this show, like you mentioned a caller tomorrow, I can maybe wrangle some new viewers. Sorry, so unclear. I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know when I know. I also would like to go on certainly Jer's show, Jer and Joe, to talk about the thing at the Cas, Brain Vault, which maybe we can make work at some point. So, yeah, I'd like to be a part of that. And then, yeah, you keep recruiting people, Nick, and whoever else is in the chat. This is how we do it. So, thank you, everyone. All right, now I'm really done. I said I was done 5 minutes ago, and I didn't stop talking, but I'm going to now. Go to lunch.
For lunch?
I don't know. I have a turkey sandwich.
We're gonna go around the corner. I think you should come with us. This is a great place.
I don't know. Okay.
We brought you a shirt.
Will you get out of here? Will you get out of here? Will you? Now, will you go to lunch? Go to lunch. Will you go to lunch?